this song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant, that's just the name of the song. That's why I call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Just walk right in, it's around the back. It's just a half a mile from the railroad tracks. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago. It was about 2 years ago on Thanksgiving when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant in the bell tower with her husband Ray and Facha the dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they got a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be. And having all that room, seeing as how they took out all the pews, they decided that they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. Well, we got there and we found all the garbage, and we decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the city dump. So we took the truck and the half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and headed on down toward the city dump. But when we got to the dump, there was a chain with a sign on it saying closed on Thanksgiving. And we had never heard of a dump closed on Thanksgiving before, and with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We didn't find one. Till we came to the side road, and off the side of the side road was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff was another pile of garbage. And we decided that one big pile is better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. That's what we did, and we got back to the church and had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up until the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Obie. Said, "Kid, we found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a half ton of garbage. Just wanted to know if you had had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obie, I cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." Well, after speaking to Obie for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter, and he said that we had to go down and pick up the garbage. And he also said that we had to go down to the police officer station. So we got in the red VW microbus, took the shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and headed on down toward the police officer station. Now, friends, I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, but no, that's not right. Now, friends, there was only one of 2 things that Obie could have done to us at the police officer station. And the first was that he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. And the other thing was that he could have bawled us out and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested, handcuffed. And I said, "Obie, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." And he said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car." And that's what we did. We sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. Now I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this all's happening here. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there were 5 police officers and 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police officer station. They was taking plaster tire tracks, footprints, dog smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. They took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, and that's not to mention the aerial photography. After the ordeal, Obie said he was going to put us in a cell. He said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in a cell. I want your wallet and your belt." I said, "Obie, I can understand you want my wallet so I don't have any money to spend in the cell, but what do you want my belt for?" And he said, "Kid, we don't want any hangings." I said, "Obie, did you think I was going to hang myself for littering?" And friends, Obie said he was making sure, because he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown. And he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, roll the toilet paper out the window, slide down the roll, and have an escape. Obie was making sure, and it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice Remember Alice? There's a song about Alice. Alice came by with a few nasty words to Obie on the side, bailed us out of jail. We went back to the church and had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up until the next morning, but we all had to go to court. We all walked in and sat down. Obie came in with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures and sat down. Man came in and said, "All rise." We all stood up. We stood up with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures, and the judge walked in with a CNI dog. He sat down. We sat down. Obie looked at the CNI dog, and then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and then at the CNI dog. And then back at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and began to cry. Because Obie came to the realization that it was a typical case of American blind injustice, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it, and the judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one, explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. So the judge fined us $50 and had us pick up the garbage in the snow, but that's not what I came to tell you about. I came to talk about the draft. They got a building down in New York City. It's called White House Street, where you walk in, you get injected, infected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I walked in to get my physical examination one day. I got good drunk the night before, so I looked and felt my best when I went in that morning. Man, I wanted to look like the all-American kid. I wanted to feel like I wanted to be the all-American kid from New York. And I walked in, I sat down, I was hung down, hung up, and all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things. And the man handed me a piece of paper, said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. I walked in, I sat down, and said, "Shrink, I want to kill. I want to kill. I want to see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth. Eat dead, burnt bodies. I mean, kill. And I started jumping up and down, yelling, kill. And he started jumping up and down with me. We was both jumping up and down, yelling, kill. And the sergeant came over, pinned a medal on me, sat me down the hall, says, "You're our boy." Didn't feel too good about it. Wandered on down the hall, getting more inspections, injections, neglections, selections, all kinds of stuff that was doing to me at the thing there. And I was there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there for a long time, going through all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things. And they was inspecting, injecting every single part of me, and they was leaving no part untouched. When I finally walked in to see the very last man, finally sat down there at the whole big thing there, and he said, "Kid, we only got one question. Have you ever been arrested?" I proceeded to tell him the story of the Alice's Restaurant Massacre with full orchestration and 5-part harmony and stuff like that. And he stopped me right there and said, "Kid, did you ever go to court?" I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with circles and arrows in a paragraph. And he stopped me right there and said, "Kid, go over there and sit down on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." I walked over to the bench there, and there's the Group W bench is where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army after committing your special crime. I walked in there, and there was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking people on the bench there. There's mother rapers, father stabbers, and father rapers sitting right there on the bench next to me, and they was mean and ugly and nasty and horrible and all kinds of things. And the meanest, ugliest, nastiest one, the meanest father raper of them all, was coming over to me, and he sat down next to me and said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage." "What were you arrested for, kid?" I said, "Littering." They all moved away from me on the bench there with a hairy eyeball and the mean, nasty, ugly things, until I said, "And creating a nuisance." And they all came back, shook my hand, and we had a great time on the bench talking about mother stabbing, father rape, and all kinds of groovy things that we was talking about on the bench there. And I was playing with the pencils, and everything was fine until the sergeant came over, had a piece of paper in his hand, held up, and said, "Kids, This piece of paper got 47 words, 37 cents, 50 old details of the crime, about 2 things about the crime, whatever stuff, them got to say. He talked for 45 minutes and nobody understood a word that he said. But we had fun filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. And I filled out the massacre with the 4-part harmony and wrote it down there just like it was, and everything was fine. Till I turned over the paper. And there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side, in capital letters, parentheses, quotated, read the following words. Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself? I said, Sergeant, you got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I mean, I'm sitting here on the bench. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the Army, burn women, kids' houses, and villages after being a litter bug. He said, kid, we don't like your kind. We're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington. And friends somewhere in Washington enshrined in some little folder is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm singing you this song now is that you may know somebody in a similar situation, or you may be in a situation like that. And if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do. Walk into the shrink anytime, anywhere, and say, shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk out. You know, if one person does it, just one person, they may think he's really sick and they won't take it. And if 2 people do it in harmony, they may think they're both faggots and they won't take either of them. Or if 3 people do it, 3 people, can you imagine 3 people walking in, singing a bar at Alice's restaurant and walking out? Friends, they may think it's an organization. Can you imagine 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar at Alice's restaurant and walking out? Friends, they may think it's a movement. And that's what it is, the Alice's Restaurant Anti-Massacre Movement. All you got to do to join is to sing it the next time it comes around on the guitar. With feeling. So, wait for it to come around again. Here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Just walk right in, it's around the back. It's just a half a mile from the railroad tracks. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
How long?
Oh, I don't know.
15. Wow.
Messed
It
up
was
a few
like 12 minutes.
Messed up a few spots.